Rashford is one of the best Manchester United academy graduates to come out of the club in the last 10 to 15 years. And I'm sorry, but that's going to rub a lot of people up the wrong way. And just statistically, that's the case, but also there's a lot that goes into the context of it. And this comes off the back of the fact that there is now a deal in place to take Marcus Rashford to Barcelona. And it feels like this is the move that will probably catalyse him eventually leaving the club. There's a lot of reasons why, due to wages, most likely, that we couldn't get a clean break this time around, and certainly not the first time with Villa. But I just thought it'd be a good time to touch base now that everyone is talking, out of every kind of orifice about Marcus Rashford, that we should at least have a bit of a level-headed conversation about what his eventual legacy will be at Manchester United if this is the end. Because I don't know if you know this, but this is the non-toxic Manchester United channel where we are just here to have healthy and good conversations about the team that we all know and love. So if you are new and you want to be a part of that, please do subscribe. The growth has been insane, the support has been awesome, and it just makes me want to do even more for the upcoming season. So please do make sure that you are liking this video and you're getting in the comments and subscribing or following wherever you are watching or listening to this. And let's just talk about Marcus. And I'm making this right after the video that I've just put up about Brian and Burbo. Make sure you watch that if you haven't already. It's live on the channel. But I want to talk about Marcus, who had obviously an incredible breakthrough at Manchester United at the age of 17, 18 years old. Thrown in at the deep end with the number 39 on his back. Started off like a house on fire with 2 goals against Midtjylland in the Europa League before getting 2 goals against Arsenal at Old Trafford. And this was under the LVG era. Louis van Gaal, who, just as a side note, thankfully has beaten cancer. So what beautiful news for Eric Ten Hag, for Louis van Gaal and his family. I don't wish that on anybody, and I'm really glad that he is pulling through. Kind of typifies the soldier mentality that he had and that he put out throughout the rest of the team, because that team that he had, I'm sorry, you look back at it man for man, maybe the goalkeepers were better, but the defense and the shaky foundations that club was founded upon and the type of football we were playing, I didn't resonate with it very well. And Amorim, don't get me wrong, I'm not really resonating with it right now, but hopefully I can see what he's trying to do. And Van Gaal was just one of those guys that rule with an iron fist. But if you were good enough as a youth player, one thing was sure, that you would get your opportunity. Jesse Lingard had it, and Marcus Rashford, who went on to excel. But then you also had the likes of Cameron Borthwick-Jackson or Paddy McNair or Tyler Blackett. All these players who were decent, but they just didn't break through, unfortunately for them. But yeah, he wasn't really given much of a platform to succeed, and you have to admit that he did. There were constantly solid outputs from Marcus Rashford in a Manchester United shirt that ultimately led him to score 138 goals and get 77 assists in 426 games. That's a goal and an assist every other game. So it's not as if we're talking about a bad player here, who also on the international front got 17 goals in 62 games. We're not talking about a bad player. And statistically, he is one of the best academy grads to come out of Manchester United in the last 15 years, which I said at the top of the video. And I think people are forgetting that. People are forgetting that in the last few years, which has been poor, which we will need to talk about, that do 3 bad years overlook 6 good ones? It depends on how you look at it. But ultimately, we did get some really good moments out of Marcus as well. He played routinely well against big clubs, scoring in some big goals, including the famous, winner against PSG, a goal at the Nou Camp, and, many in different derbies, including a chop and change against Trent at Liverpool in front of Old Trafford to get a win there, which seems unlikely now. But, he did do very well. And also, the off-pitch impact that he had on his country, especially during the pandemic, that cannot be understated. I mean, how many times do we talk about footballers needing to use their influence for good? Marcus Rashford always did that, and he always made sure that people were looked after, and he probably did more for the kids of this country than the government did during that time. And how was he repaid? Through a media ambush who were more interested in what car he drove, who his girlfriend was, than what good he was actually doing on the country. They attacked him. And we all knew that. I feel like Man United fans generally did step up to back Marcus and said, this is disgraceful and he deserves a lot better from the country at large. And I think we all knew that. And a lot of people did jump on his back in a good way and made sure that we backed him. But so many people didn't. And unfortunately, the people higher up didn't. And that's a disgrace. And we cannot, no matter what you say, as a man, and as a kid growing up in, Manchester United lore, clearly he wanted to play for us and he loved us and he gave us all for the country and the football club. And he kind of gave us all to the detriment of himself, which led to a back injury, which, I mean, it's funny how lately, like only two or 3 days ago, Axel Tuanzebe, another academy grad, has come out to try and sue Manchester United for negligence in their medical department because he feels like he wasn't given the right advice. I feel like Marcus probably has a suit that he could claim himself because he played with like a fractured back or something, which led to started with a stress fracture, led to an actual one, and then he ended up, putting himself at detriment multiple times. And his style of play changed ever since then. He wasn't that all-encompassing winger that would just run at you no matter what. He became a lot more techie with his feet to try and get out of tight spaces, and then eventually almost regressed into a striker role. And the year before he regressed into that striker role over being a pure winger, which he did under Erik Ten Hag, that was his first real sign of like, okay, this is a bad season now. What's going to happen under Ten Hag? And he flew, didn't he? I mean, there was a purple patch, let's be honest, in that season of about 4 or 5 months where he was considered one of the best in the world, scoring for free, enjoying his football, the celebration, we all know. And he did brilliantly. And we all knew that a contract was coming, and we knew that a bumper contract was going to come. Did he deserve one after that season? I think he probably did. Did he deserve one after that? And the previous seasons? Probably, yeah. We overpaid. It's as simple as that. The old organisation overpaid for Marcus Rashford, giving him in excess of 300 grand a week. He wasn't worth that. Even if he put up that season for the past 5, would you be worth that amount of money? It's the same amount Salah's on. Do you know what I mean? Then it's or Salah was on. It's not good enough for Manchester United at that time, and it gave Marcus Rashford an out because now where was the vigor? Where it only had to come from the organisational structure to be like, okay, we're now going to try and win titles. We're going to go out from being a cup team and do this, but you then hamstrung yourself by giving all this money to Marcus that you couldn't spend the money elsewhere. So we were now relying on him, and he was there like, I've done loads, I've done enough. But no matter what, when you're getting paid that much money at Manchester United in a period where we're not doing that well, you can do no right. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You have to be a brilliant player, and you have to do a lot by that point. But it's difficult. It's very, very difficult to put up the numbers he was going to do routinely when he did have a lot of injury issues as well at that time, and the poor performances began. But for me, it was more the lack of self-awareness at the time. Like, Man United fans are fickle, and I've said this so many times. Like, I don't have the talent of any of these guys. They have more talent in their left foot than I have in my entire body. But if you give me a fraction of the cost to pay for Manchester United, then I will run until my legs fall off. And we want to see that. Like, even if you score goals and whatever, and you're on the edge of stuff, you nearly score, you give us a bit of magic. If you're just running the touchline and you drag the ball out of play, you win a throw-in high up the pitch, but you G up the crowd, we'll remember that just as much as any goal, because that's the effort. That's the industry that's been brought on in terms of the foundations of Man United. That's who we are. So you want to see that sort of stuff. And he wasn't giving us that for whatever reason. And it led to all these things then where the media were already ready to pounce on him. You don't play well and then you're off jet setting around the world, which you're more than entitled to do, but it's just a self-awareness point. And then he starts trying to sort of mitigate that by doing interviews with the Players Tribune before an FA Cup final, or, showing workout videos and stuff. Like, if he didn't do that, then you would say, why isn't he doing that? And now that he has done it, you think it's a PR spin. He reached a point where he was damned if he did and damned if he don't. And I think it comes down to a mix of not having the right platform at Manchester United to succeed like other players in other clubs, but also not being self-aware enough to understand how Manchester United fans would feel, what the media were going to do, and just getting your head down and just getting out of the public eye. I think that's what he needed to do, but that didn't happen. I don't think he was advised well. I don't think that the contract helped. And really, we lumped a lot of unnecessary pressure onto him by doing that. But when you're given that money, work hard. And we didn't see enough of that, in my opinion, from that point on. And that went on for a year, and a very turbulent year. And then you hear from the new manager coming in, who is all about working hard. Like, you see him beasting players in pre-season to run at half-time when they're not doing enough to get them into shape. Like, then you just hear he's not performing in training. And you get whispers of the Jadon Sancho thing, and you just think, oh God, what's happening here then? And the social media stuff is there. He's more like proven alliances with people who aren't aligned with the future of Manchester United, while trying to say that he's Manchester United through and through. It's just murky. And ultimately, you've got a player who is underperforming and being overpaid. And you think, okay, you have this interview with Henry Winter to say maybe it's time to look elsewhere, whatever. That drew a line in the sand for me personally. You said you want to go, off you go. I don't care who you are. Then you go to Villa, and I'm sorry, these aren't groundbreaking numbers. that I'm about to read out for you. At Villa, 4 goals and 6 assists in 17 games. And 2 of those goals, I think, were against Preston, I think, was it? In the FA Cup. It's not like I'm not moved by that whatsoever. You played 940 minutes in that time. I'm not moved at all. Because if you'd put up those same numbers for the remainder of the season for Manchester United, would that have been enough? No. So why is it enough for Aston Villa? And why is it enough? Well, it might be enough for Aston Villa, but why is it enough to all of a sudden make Manchester United look silly for letting you go to Aston Villa? You can't have it both ways. So I don't think it was good enough. And now he flirted with Barcelona the entire time. He's kind of been exiled from the squad. And I think that the deal with Barcelona and the talks were going on longer than just being a here we go yesterday after it being revealed by Ornstein a half an hour earlier. So I think it is at a point where he's going to Barcelona. And let's face it, that's a great place for him to develop. To more reignite his career, because Antony succeeded there. If Antony can succeed there under the precipice and under the pressure that he was under with his price tag, Rashford can absolutely succeed there. And, he goes with my best wishes because, again, he's still a Man United kid and I want the best for him. But ultimately, I think that he's, been paid a lot of money and he hasn't given us that return on investment the minute we invested into him. That's where the kind of wheels started to fall off, which is a really negative point. And he became more drama than what it was worth. I think what it was worth for us and what it was worth for him. He's better off leaving the limelight and going to Barcelona, where, let me just say, he's not exactly leaving a limelight, but he's leaving the British media. He's going to the Spanish tabloids, which won't be fun if he doesn't hit the ground running there. That's the same media outlets that called Modric the flop of the century in his first season. So he has to hit the ground there. He's only got a season on loan. And the deal, let's face it, they're paying 100% of his wages, and he's not going to get paid the same amount at Barcelona like he did here. But that means Manchester United 100% don't have to pay him anything. So that's 320 odd grand a week that has been saved over the course of a year. So we're probably going to save somewhere between 10 and 15 million pounds just through that. And if he ends up going and they want to keep him, it's a 30 million pound buy option. Yes, it could be a little more, but you equate that with the savings we're making this season. That's like 45 million that we're saving and making over the course of taking him there in pure profit. So whatever you want to say about him, there is a World Cup coming up. I think a good season at Barcelona takes you to a World Cup. He's the first English player since Gary Lineker, the first British one, I believe, since Mark Hughes to go to Barcelona. It's a trodden path. It's a well-beaten one by really good players, but he has to really get his head down and do what he can. I mean, Lineker and Hughes have all said that it's a difficult place to be. It's bonkers, the Spanish media. It's not what you expect. So I hope he knows what he's in for. But ultimately, him, Rafinha, Yamal, Lewandowski, they will get goals. It's can he break through and can he stay fit in order to do that? Because he got injured at Villa in the last few games of the season. So I wish him all the best. And the answer to, has he ruined his legacy at Manchester United? For me, he has tarnished it a bit. Because I think people will remember the kid who burst onto the scene, absolutely. But they'll also remember the man who became more stressed than what he was worth. So has it completely tainted it? No. But I do think it's tarnished it to a point where going to Barcelona at this time is best for everybody involved. But still, I wish him all the best. And he goes with no animosity for me. And if anything, this is a massive domino to fall in terms of outgoings because it's the biggest one. It's probably the hardest one to maneuver. We couldn't get any money in for him right now, but there could be a penalty clause like with the Sancho contract. But also in order to get those wages off the bill, that's huge. And I think we can move on from it. He can move on from it. And if everyone succeeds, then happy days. We'll get money eventually. Barcelona get a good deal. He gets to enjoy his football again because he would not, whatever, and we have to be clear now. Antony's numbers at Betis, he wasn't putting them up at Man United. He wouldn't have put them up this season in the Prem. Whatever Marcus Rashford goes on to do at Barcelona, he would have put up a fraction of that in the Prem, and he's proved that over the past 2 years. And I just think he should go and enjoy his football and go and enjoy with our best wishes because I'll watch him and I'll enjoy it. Go to terrorise Trent in the El Clasico because I'm sure you will. And Hansi Flick will be a manager to bring the best out of him. And I think this is the best thing for all parties involved. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments wherever you're watching or listening to this. It is a very divisive topic. But like I say, this is the place where we can have healthy discussions compared to all the toxic crap that you see elsewhere. So if you want to be part of the community, please do subscribe or follow up as well. Really appreciate the support. And videos are coming thick and fast along with live streams. So please get your notification bell on so that you don't miss any upload or any live streams because I want to see you guys involved as much as possible. But thank you so much for joining me and I'll see you on the next video.